Hi, Richard. Good day. How are you doing? It's great to have you on our episode.
I'm wonderful, Martha. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No, thank you so much for you to joining us. I just want to introduce everyone to this episode. This episode's called Why Selling Trucks is About People and Not Just Profit. And we have the pleasure to have Richard Nance with us. Just to give you a little introduction, my name is Marta Romero, and I'm the Customer Success and Sales Representative for TTT's Concierge Services. I just want to do a brief introduction about Richard. Today's guest, as I mentioned, is Richard Nance, a highly respected used truck dealer and recipient of the 2023 Mark Remarketing Top Salesperson Award. Known for his signature, the All I Sell is Used Trucks. Richard doesn't just sell services, he sells himself as a consultant for new owner operators.
Wonderful. Thank you, Martha. I appreciate that. Those are kind words.
Okay, so I just want to mention an overview of what we're going to talk about in today's episode. We will explore how Richard transformed the truck buying experience into something more meaningful, centered on connecting with the customer rather than the money. So to start, Richard, I just want to talk about a little bit how it has been challenging the stereotype. How would you reflect on the traditional image of a truck salespeople and how you would intentionally set out to be different?
So early on, I came out of a auto industry, and it was all about customer service, and the perception of car salespeople were not that great. So when I came into the trucking and transportation industry 10 years ago, I decided that it was something I wanted to change and make it more of the experience about the customer as opposed to the sale. And really, that is my gear, is to focus on the customer and the customer's needs, and not so much walk you right in the door and grab an application and get you qualified. That's not everyone's speed.
Yeah, I totally understand. So I would also like to ask you, what do you consider yourself a consultant for new owner operators rather than just a salesman?
That is correct. For new owner operators is my primary forte, I guess, for lack of a better word. I take the time and consideration to understand that these guys have never done this before, and to have high expectations of a first-time owner operator knowing the ropes is just not something that's feasible. So I take the hand, guide them through the process, and make it as easy as possible for them, and be a consultative inspiration to them to help them with warranty questions if they have, or insurance questions if they don't know about insurance, or guide them through the financing process if they're doing financing. I try to do everything as easy as possible, and so they have a great experience.
That sounds great. So you would say that you're guiding them through not only what truck to buy, but how to succeed and take the right steps for them for their success.
Correct. I mean, a lot of times I'll get example is I'll have customers that will actually come in, or clients will actually come in and have no idea about a per mile cost of things. When you break it down to a per mile, is essentially the basics of your business model. When you're a truck driver and you're an owner operator, what does it cost me per mile to run this? I have clients that'll come in that need advice on, I'm not an expert in the insurance field. I'm not an expert in anything other than what I do. And I can guide them to those experts, those insurance experts, the finance experts. I have warranty experts that can help them with that. And together we can come to a conclusion that this would be something that would set them up for success later. Or maybe you're doing a great job just being a company driver, and you're able to provide for your family. Everybody has the expectations and aspirations to be more than they are, but sometimes financially it doesn't make sense to jump out of a career of being a company driver and to get into a actual owner operator situation.
Exactly. And I just wanted to ask you, are there some stories of first-time buyers that you can share with us, like how you help them to avoid bad investments or maybe any career pitfall? It would be really interesting to hear a couple of stories.
Yes, absolutely. So what I feel like is the important process is to have an interview. And it's just like it's a job interview. I interview with my clients, and I ask them what their expectations are. And sometimes it winds up being that financially they're just not there as far as a down payment, or they have unrealistic expectations of how much things cost. and to get them to understand. If they move forward in that, then it's a great day. I've had clients that will come back to me 6 months later because they weren't ready and go, hey, you know what? I took your advice and I worked on my credit score, or I saved up some more money and was able to now present you 20% down, or I have my insurance in order, and I've been working toward this program. And I feel good for me to be able to help and assist someone to help them successfully navigate a new owner operator business and to be a viable person for their family and be able to support their family and not put them in some kind of detriment and hurt their family and potentially lose everything they have, because it is a major decision. And I've had lots of successful customers that have come back and been able to come in and be successful, and repeat clients that will come back to me.
Those are incredible stories. That has been great. I also wanted to ask you, what would you say are like, regarding the first time buyer experience, what would you say are the common fears, some misinformation they might have, and what are the like the financial traps new owner operators tend to face?
So, from my experience, I feel like the number one thing is the finance end of things. Clients will come in and have really unrealistic expectations of finance. I use this phrase a lot. It's different from coming into a used car lot and your credit is X, you're buying this car and you want to finance for this amount of time, and here's the interest rate. It's more geared toward the risk assessment that a lender does. No two deals are ever the same. No two interest rates are ever the same. New trucks, single digit interest rates, pretty common. Used trucks, single digit interest rate isn't as common in the commercial truck industry. So with that said, a lot of guys will come in thinking that 5-8%, 5 to 8% is something that they're going to achieve. And unfortunately, it's not always the case, especially as your first time owner operator, first time financing a truck. My rule of thumb is I tell people you can figure, give or take a few percent, but 20 to 25% down, and you're probably going to be somewhere in that mid-teens, maybe high teens, if you're just starting out, if your credit is in fairly decent shape. If your credit's not and you have had some bumps in the road, you might be pressing higher than that. But it's all about the risk assessment for the bank and the story we tell the bank that helps them navigate what your expectations are on being an owner operator. And having a great haul source helps that tremendously.
Yeah, of course. It's really great information you're sharing with us. I also wanted to ask you, what would you say is your process, for example, for understanding what the client's goals are and what would set them for sustainable success?
So a lot of it is, as I said before, the interview process, asking the questions, not just being, okay, are you buying a truck? Are you leaving? Are where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? It's actually getting to know the people, building trust, where they trust me to ask the right questions. They trust me to help them with the vehicle. I'll tell people, I have told clients, this may not be the truck for you because either the specs aren't right, or they're hauling something different than what this truck will haul, or financially it just doesn't make sense for them to do this. Let's look at a different truck. I know everybody wants the latest and the greatest and the best and the lowest mile truck, and not everybody can start out that way. Sometimes we have to go back and look at something that's less priced or maybe a few more miles. I had a client last night, example, 7 o'clock at night, back and forth with this client. They had some expectations that I was not aware of because they never even asked me what I thought as far as financials. They were looking at a $120,000 truck. We got them approved. They had great credit. The payment was considerably more than what they were expecting. Went back and talked to them a little bit about it, and they would share with me that they were frustrated about the fact that they wanted that truck. They weren't expecting the payment to be that much. Literally half of where the payment was what they were wanting to be. So we reevaluated. I told them, take it easy, get some good sleep tonight. Let's talk tomorrow and see if I can locate a truck for you that I have in my inventory that will work for you. And if I do, great. If not, maybe I can help you find a truck somewhere else and you can catch me on the next truck. I don't have to sell you every truck. I want to, but I also want to help you be successful and get a truck that would work for you.
Yeah, of course, that's really important. So sometimes it would be, you would say it's necessary to like redirect the expectations of the client just for them to get the best possible result.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great to know. Regarding now, I want to talk a little bit more about the award we mentioned before. I know this award reflects your philosophy, so I just wanted to ask you what it meant to you to be honored as Max 2023 Top Salesperson in Remarketing.
So it was a great honor, and that's nationwide Mack Corporation. It's a humbling experience. I don't go around bragging about it very much, but for me, it's all about the team that is around me. It's not just me. It's the service department, it's management, it's the clients, it's the finance companies, it's everything that putting it all together and following a process I was able to achieve that. But it's not just me by myself. It's my team that's there beside of me, working in the trenches, helping these clients, making sure we put the best product out there we can, and giving the best advice we can to make those things happen.
Yeah, it's great. Congratulations on that award once again.
Thank you.
So, I would say, do you think this recognition just affirmed what you think that doing business the right way does pay off?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we don't change the culture of used truck sales and the client base of used truck sales, we're not gaining anything. And I'll get into a little bit more later about my philosophy on that. But I feel like that if you're doing the right thing and you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, you'll always win.
Yeah, that's exactly the way to go. I also wanted to ask you, why would you think selling a truck it's really about helping a driver build their own business and success?
Well, as I said before, everyone wants to strive to be better. Everyone wants to have the opportunity to be successful on their own, to grow. Um, and I feel like that's a part of my role and my legacy is to help guide and navigate first time owner operators or non first time owner operators. Maybe you've gotten a couple of trucks under your belt and you're looking to add on or make additional purchases for the fleet. It's my job to basically help you navigate through those waters and to help set you up for success and guide you the right. I'm the expert in the trucks, so to speak. You're the expert on the road and driving the trucks. Let me help you navigate through the waters of purchasing the right truck for you. And I won't steer you down the wrong path. If you give me the right information, I will definitely help you. And I'll tell you if I've got something that'll work, or if I don't, maybe you catch me on the next time you're looking for a truck.
Exactly. So, would you say that helping people through important details like financing, insurance, has helped you build trust and long-term relationship with your clients?
Absolutely. I have a lot of repeat and referral business. I have clients just right before the podcast here. I had a customer call me up that's bought trucks from me for the last 4 or 5 years and was asking, he has always been a cash buyer in the past. He was asking me how the finance process works. So I got him in contact with our finance department because sometimes those questions are easier answered by the experts and not just myself. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we work as a team and can help produce the results that the customer desires.
Of course. So basically, building trust would basically lead to repeat business, referrals, and a loyal network, which is what every
Absolutely.
business strives to. Yeah. That's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Richard. So I also wanted to ask you regarding what I have read about your company and what you do, the impact beyond money. So you say sales aren't just changing hands and giving money, they're changing lives. Like you said, important thing about families having a good life, small fleets, and people basically sometimes having even second chances.
No, you're absolutely right. So, when I look at things, we taking patience, having patience with the customer. That's the biggest thing is that not just going for the credit app. If you go for the credit app and you haven't done your homework, so to speak, you're never going to be able to take care of the customer the right way or the client the right way. They may or may not be buying today, but it's nice as a consultant if they'll come back to you when they're ready, and you make everything easier in the long run if you start off the right way. So I also have a strong understanding of the diverse needs of my clients. They're from various cultural backgrounds, and I approach each interaction with respect for their unique preferences and purchasing practices. So not every client wants to purchase the traditional financing. There are alternative or cultural financing options that need to be met, and some manufacturers, or excuse me, some salespeople don't want to take the time to do that. And I don't mind. I don't have a problem taking the time to do that, answer the questions, and understand that that's how they work as a client with their faith-based lending practices.
Yes, of course. And I also wanted to pick your brain about what are your thoughts on community-based sales and how like it plays the long game in trucking.
Oh, absolutely. If we're all in this together, no matter where we're at in the country, we're all in this together. So as far as the used truck community, we have to do a better job for our customers. We have to be more patient. We have to set them up for success, because if we don't, they're never going to be successful on just give me the credit app. Here's your truck. Have a great day. It's more of we have to take them in our arms, and we have to become family with them. And we have to understand that their needs are different than the next customer's needs. There's no two deals are ever going to be the same. There's no two customers that are ever going to be the same. And if you're always looking out for the needs of the client, you'll always win. And in the long term, it's going to pay off. You'll have that repeat business. You'll have clients that, as I tell people, you'll never buy your second truck from me if you don't trust me on your first one. And you'll tell your friends, your relatives, people you run into, hey, you know what? Richard may have a truck. Why don't you go talk to him? If he doesn't, he'll steer you to the right path. He won't just take advantage of you. And that's how I feel like I have to sleep at night. And I sleep very well at night, knowing that that's the way I operate.
Yeah, that's great. Always looking out for the client, which is like the most important person, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted also to ask, you've always mentioned, and I've read a couple of articles about this, you always mentioned that you're always more excited about a thank you message from a driver than closing a deal. So would you like to explore this a little bit?
Yeah. So I have my desk on my cubicle. I have little notes that people will either send me, or little trinkets. I have an Asian gentleman that sent me a little charm that's on my board at my cubicle. I have a gentleman that wrote in Farsi my name and thank you, and it's tacked to my board. I have a couple thank you cards that I have tacked to my board. That brings me gratification. I love when I've done something enough that someone takes time out of their day to do something like that nice to me. It's not the monetary value of that. It's just the fact that someone's being a good human to me. And I really appreciate that. And that really goes a long way in myself.
Yeah, that's really heartwarming. It's great. I mean, to get that response and feedback so nice from all of your clients must be great. I can imagine how it even gives you like a push to keep working and being better every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Richard, regarding something I wanted to talk to you about, like trucks as tools and not just products, do you have any advice for aspiring truck buyers on what to look for, what to avoid, and how to stay realistic during this process?
I do. And like I say, I'm just based on my experience and my clients. I may not be the absolute 100% end all be all when it comes to questions and answers, but I can tell you that talk to your peers, get advice from them on if it's something that they can be successful when they're starting out. Secondly, is that if you find a truck, talk to the salesperson. Just be, not all of us are bad guys. Talk to the salesperson, tell them what you're looking to accomplish. In my world, I'm an open book. I try to make sure that I tell the customer everything he needs to do. If they need me to go out and take a picture of something they saw on a line, and here's a scratch on it. Yep, right here's a scratch. Or if they need me to look and re-stick the tires with a gauge and send them a picture with the gauge, I'll do that kind of stuff, because that helps the customer. That helps you make an educated decision. Thirdly is that warranty in the trucking industry is not like warranty in the used car world. And I say that is I really say that is because you can get some good warranty companies out there. A lot of them in the past had a bad stigma. But nowadays, the companies are held to a higher accountability. I personally won't deal with a warranty company that doesn't take care of my customers. I will not deal with it. So when you're looking at warranty options, it's always best practice. If you think about you're spending $5,000 to $10,000 on a warranty to cover a $50,000 to $75,000 truck, when the average bill going through our shop, everybody's rates are right at $200 an hour. The average bill going through our shop is over $3,500 one time. That's not maintenance. That's a shop. I see bills or invoices come through there, tens of thousands of dollars. Every truck's going to break down. I don't care if it's new or used. Every truck's going to break down. The difference between a new truck breaking down is that it has warranty from the factory. A used truck, nobody takes the engine apart. Nobody takes the transmission apart before they sell it. We do the best we can to make sure that this truck, we're putting the highest quality used truck out there on the market. Everybody misses something. We hope that it doesn't happen, but it happens sometimes. That's where buying a warranty will definitely benefit you as a owner operator, because if you don't, that bill might not be an $8,000 bill. It might be a $15,000 bill. You only have to pay a $350 deductible in most cases. So that's my advice as far as that.
Okay, that's great advice, Richard. Thank you so much. And I also wanted to talk about, I know there's a quote you use really often, which is the best deal isn't the cheapest, it's the one that doesn't break your future. What would you like to
That's
tell us
exactly
about
right.
that?
That's exactly right. The best deal isn't always the cheapest deal. You know, there is a difference between cheap and inexpensive. Cheap is cheap. If you go and looking for the cheapest truck out there, you're going to get the cheapest truck out there. If you're looking for the most inexpensive truck, that's a good quality truck, that's what you need to set your eyes on. If you use terminology like I want the cheapest truck, or I want I want to spend the least amount of money, you're only setting yourself up for failure. It's not always the best deal, because it's one of those cases, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Not me metaphorically, but just in general. You know, you could buy a $20,000 truck with almost 1,000,000 miles. I can't guarantee that truck. No warranty company is going to guarantee that truck. You might get another 10,000 miles of it. You might get another 200,000 miles out of it. We don't know. Spend a little more money. Don't have to spend a lot more money, and buy a truck that's not a cheap truck, maybe an inexpensive truck, less miles, something that you would feel comfortable that would work in your job, hauling what you need to haul, and you'll be more successful that way, because the last thing you want to do is spend your last dollar. And I have clients that will do that. Will spend their last dollar on a down payment. 6 months later, they bought a truck that they can't use because they wanted the cheapest truck out there. And it just doesn't always pay off. You have a life. Every truck has a life. And when you get up to that cheap truck, the life of that truck is not long. So that's just my advice on that.
Yeah, so it's worth investing a little more just to guarantee a little bit more success as well.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Richard, for expanding on that. And I also wanted to ask you, I know you have a message for other sellers, which is you're not just selling trucks, you're shaping lives. Treat it like that. So I know that's regarding what we have discussed about building relationship with the clients and giving great customer service. So I would like to talk a little bit more about that.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. So for me, and I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but for me, it's my philosophy on sales. And I'm going to read you directly from what is in my business plan. I create a business plan for my management every year before the end of the year, and go over and review it. And I set myself some pretty high expectations, but I hold myself accountable for things that I want to do and I want to accomplish. And so I'm going to read you directly from what is on my business plan. This comes directly from my business plan that I write every year. Sales to me is far more than a path to financial gain. It's an emotional and deeply fulfilling journey. What drives me most is not just the outcome, but the process, the art, the psychology, and most importantly, the trust that I build along the way. These are elements that define my approach and shape the legacy that I aim to leave as a sales consultant. I view every interaction as an opportunity to connect, understand, and I genuinely help. These values that I contribute to both my success and the well-roundedness perspective of being the professional sales consultant that I am today.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That those are great words to work by in a company such as yours. Thank you, Richard. So finally, I just wanna do like a brief recap with you. What would you say if you had to summarize like the key takeaways from this conversation? I know that basically is that sales doesn't have to be soulless. It can be done with care, and if it's done with care, it can change lives, especially in tough, hardworking industry like trucking is, at the moment and has basically always been.
Correct. So, a few takeaways. I would say that if you are purchasing a truck and your salesperson is pushy or you don't feel like something's right, just back out of the deal. I mean, I would expect it. If you're buying a truck, I only meet about 10 to 7%, or excuse me, 5 to 7% of my clientele. The rest of my clientele, I sell all over the nation. I never meet them in person. I start the rapport on the phone. I send them videos. We chat. I tell them, this is a truck that I think will work for you. If your sales consultant is not on your side and it's all about their pocket, then you need to find another sales consultant. And probably didn't make any friends saying that, but it's just the truth. You don't have to come to me, but find somebody you
Yes.
can mesh with, someone that you feel comfortable with, someone that will listen to you and not just push their agenda and push their needs and at their pace. I will say that sometimes you do have to speed up to go fast. Sometimes you have to slow down to go fast. And for me, I'm here to help in any way I can to make a first-time owner operator or a farmer or an ag person or a fleet as successful as possible. And I want to start them off by selling them something and offering my consultant opinions or professional advice to guide them down the right path the first time.
Thank you so much, Richard. So before wrapping up this podcast, I just wanted to encourage our listeners to subscribe to our stream channel. And just to end everything, I just really wanted to thank you, Richard, for sharing all your insights. And thank you to the audience for tuning in. Are there any last words you want to leave us with?
No, thank you for this opportunity. I greatly appreciate it. And if I can ever be of any assistance, please let me know. And I do have Facebook, I have YouTube, LinkedIn. Anything you need, you just let me know and I'll be happy to help you out the best I can.
Okay, sounds great. It was great talking to you, Richard. Thank you for your time in this podcast. It was extremely interesting and insightful.
Thank you, Martha. You have a wonderful day, and thank you, everyone, for listening.